Hello and welcome to this session. In this session, we are going to discuss management of alcohol use disorders and related problems. Now, as we understand, not all forms of alcohol use warrants treatment. There are many individuals who consume alcohol but do not experience any problems associated with its use. However, for some individuals, use of alcohol may become a medical issue, and that is when treatment is warranted. Now, what are those medical conditions associated with alcohol use which require treatment? The most important of them is alcohol dependence or alcohol addiction. Now, a detailed discussion on what is addiction and what is dependence has already been covered in another session. However, here we will briefly discuss what we mean when we say that a person is suffering from alcohol addiction or alcohol dependence. Now, alcohol dependence develops over a long period of time when somebody uses alcohol frequently in large amounts. So, it is a chronic condition. Nobody develops addiction to alcohol within a matter of few days or weeks. It takes months or years of heavy alcohol use to reach this stage of addiction. Now, when someone reaches this stage, there are certain characteristic features or clinical symptoms which appear in such individual. Such individuals usually experience a strong desire and irresistible urge to consume alcohol if they are not able to use it. They also may give priority to alcohol use over other behaviors, responsibilities or even pleasurable activities. They continue to use alcohol even though they themselves realize that they are experiencing harmful effects of alcohol. There is also a tolerance to the effects of alcohol, so that such individuals are not able to consume alcohol in smaller quantities even if they wish to. They require alcohol in larger amounts because smaller amounts of alcohol do not produce the intended pleasurable effect. Also, if they stop consuming alcohol all of a sudden, or even if they reduce the amount of alcohol they consume on a usual day, they experience certain physical and psychological symptoms which are known as alcohol withdrawals. And due to all these symptoms or features of alcohol addiction, once somebody reaches this stage of alcohol addiction, it is not possible for the individual to just stop alcohol use all of a sudden like any other habit. And such individuals usually require help or intervention in order to stop using alcohol. Such features are usually evident at least for a period of 12 months in anyone for whom we entertain the diagnosis, a medical diagnosis of alcohol dependence or addiction. Now, when we talk about management of alcohol addiction or alcohol dependence, we have to understand that because it by itself is a chronic condition which is also relapsing in nature, the treatment is of a long duration. A short duration treatment lasting a few days or maybe a couple of weeks does not usually suffice to help someone come out of alcohol use and stay away from alcohol for lifetime. So, usually like in any other chronic long lasting medical condition, treatment in case of alcohol addiction also lasts for a long duration. However, over the course of this long treatment, the needs of the individual change, and accordingly the focus of the treatment also changes. Hence, treatment for alcohol addiction can be divided into two parts: short term management of alcohol dependence and long term management of alcohol dependence. Now, in the short term, the focus of the management is physical and psychological stabilization of the patient. So, hence we provide treatment for acute withdrawal over the short term. We take care of any medical or psychological complications in this period, and we also try to motivate the individual for the change he or she is trying to make. Over the long term, however, once the person is physically and psychologically stabilized and has established rapport with the treating team, we focus on preventing relapse, maintaining abstinence and improving functioning of the individual, so that he or she can achieve reintegration into the society. So, first let us discuss the short term management for alcohol use disorders, particularly alcohol addiction. Now, in the short term, the primary aim is to alleviate any alcohol withdrawals that the person might experience. Not all alcohol dependent individuals experience withdrawal, but most of them do, and among those who do experience alcohol withdrawal, taking care of the alcohol withdrawal goes a long way in helping them achieve abstinence from alcohol. We try to prevent complications, we try to establish a rapport in this period with the patient and his or her family. We try to build the motivation of the individual, and this is the time, the first few days or weeks, in which we also, in consultation with the patient and his family, prepare a plan for long term abstinence. How the individual is going to remain abstinent from alcohol over a long period of time. Now, let us first discuss how do we manage alcohol withdrawal, because it is the most critical step in the short term management of alcohol dependence. Now, alcohol withdrawals, they are experienced by almost 2/3 of alcohol dependent individuals, and not all individuals require treatment for management of alcohol withdrawal. So, in most cases treatment of alcohol withdrawal is required when it is moderate to severe. Now, why does anyone experience alcohol withdrawal? In patients of alcohol dependence, in people who are consuming alcohol in large amounts over a long period of time, while they are continuing to take alcohol, there is increase in inhibitory neurotransmitters like gamma aminobutyric acid and suppression of excitatory neurotransmitters like dopamine, glutamate and norepinephrine. However, once somebody stops taking alcohol, all of a sudden there is increase in excitatory neurotransmitters like dopamine and glutamate, and the levels of gamma aminobutyric acid decrease, and this results in neuronal excitation, which then manifests in the form of several symptoms. Now, these symptoms can be of stimulation of the brain, because excitatory neurotransmitters are now dominating. So, which can then manifest as restlessness, anxiety, irritability, tremors, seizures, increased alertness, decreased sleep, vivid dreams, disorientation, hallucination, even delirium. There can be features of autonomic hyperactivity. So, our autonomic nervous system also gets excited, and which can result in fever, chills, sweating, palpitations, tachycardia, increase in blood pressure. And then there are certain gastrointestinal symptoms which also appear, like decreased appetite, nausea, vomiting, burning in the abdomen, dyspepsia. So, these are the features of alcohol withdrawal. There can be central nervous system symptoms, there can be autonomic hyperactivity symptoms, and there can be gastrointestinal symptoms. Now, these symptoms typically would appear after somebody has been consuming alcohol for a long period of time in large quantities, has become addicted to it, and then has suddenly tried to stop alcohol use or reduced it considerably all of a sudden. Now, typically the course of alcohol withdrawal syndrome, this is a collection of symptoms. So, it is a syndrome. It usually starts 6 to 24 hours after the last drink. It will depend upon the quantity of alcohol consumed by the individual on a usual day, and other factors, that how soon alcohol withdrawal appears in any individual, but usually it starts on the first day itself and reaches a peak by about the second day. So, 24 to 48 hours after the last consumption of alcohol, and can be anywhere between 3 to 7 days in duration. So, within this period the alcohol withdrawal initiates, reaches a peak in terms of its severity, and then goes down and resolves by itself. So, alcohol withdrawal is actually a self-limiting condition. However, it is extremely distressing and can be potentially life-threatening. So, anyone who is likely to experience alcohol withdrawal on cessation of alcohol use should never be advised to just give up alcohol use by himself or herself. They should always be advised to seek help in order to quit alcohol, because alcohol withdrawal can be potentially life threatening, and we do not know in which individual can severe withdrawal occur and become life threatening due to certain complications. Now, those complications typically can be seizures, which usually occur within the first 2 days after the last drink, a condition known as delirium tremens, which usually occurs after 3 to 4 days of the last drink. Now, these two conditions can lead to adverse outcomes in someone who is suffering from alcohol withdrawal. Now, how do we diagnose that this particular cluster of symptoms or the syndrome that is in front of us is actually alcohol withdrawal? So, for that usually we do not require any investigations, merely a clinical assessment by history and physical examination is sufficient. So, in history, if we ask such an individual or his or her family, we will find that the person would be consuming alcohol for a long period of time. We should ask for the quantity of alcohol intake, the duration of alcohol intake, the time of most recent drink, and if this individual has had similar episodes in the past when he or she tried to stop drinking. We should also ask for the onset of these symptoms and how the symptoms have progressed. Now, while taking history, we should also try to rule out any other possible causes or reasons for similar symptoms, which can potentially be head trauma, infections, any metabolic condition like hypoglycemia or use of other drugs, or any coexisting medical or psychiatric illness which can complicate the picture later on, like heart condition or respiratory condition, liver problems or kidney related issues. This assessment will help us manage the patient better. As far as examination is concerned, during examination we can find evidence for alcohol withdrawal in the form of tremors. These tremors can be seen either in the hands or on tongue, and they can be made more pronounced by asking the patient to extend the hands, outstretch the hands, or extend the tongue out of the mouth. Now, further on examination, particularly in abdomen, we can probably find liver enlargement or tenderness in a patient of alcohol addiction. In central nervous system examination, we may find problems in orientation or concentration or memory, which can be assessed. Usually such patients would be anxious, they would be restless, and those kinds of mental state related issues can also be recorded. Now, once we have diagnosed that the patient is suffering from alcohol withdrawal, the next part is how to treat it. Now, as far as alcohol withdrawal treatment is concerned, the goal is to help the patient come out of the withdrawal phase, which we now know is self-limiting in nature. In about a week or 10 days, these withdrawal symptoms disappear on their own. But to make the entire experience of going through the withdrawal period comfortable for the patient. So, the patient should be able to go through this period without much distress or discomfort, and that will then help the patient stay away from alcohol, because one of the reasons why people with alcohol addiction are not able to stay away from alcohol is alcohol withdrawal. They know that once they consume alcohol again, all these withdrawal symptoms will disappear and they will not have to suffer. But if we can take care of these withdrawal symptoms without them having to take alcohol, the patient may be able to then stop taking alcohol use. And second is, during this period, to enhance patient's motivation into a long term treatment program and thereby be able to abstain from alcohol for a long period. Now, but where do we provide this treatment? Now, there is a general belief that for any form of addiction, the person has to be admitted, but that is actually a misconception. Most patients of alcohol addiction can be treated on outpatient basis, which means they can stay in their homes, they can come to the clinic, receive treatment and go back home and follow the advice of the treating team. However, there can be some patients in whom outpatient treatment may not be indicated, or rather inpatient treatment is indicated. So, it is not a default choice that any patient of alcohol addiction coming with alcohol withdrawal has to be admitted. Admission is indicated about 10 to 20% of patients, and there are specific reasons why we consider admission, and one of the reasons is severe dependence. If the dependence on alcohol is very severe, there is a very strong likelihood that the patient may already have some physical complications associated with it, and in such patients it is better to offer inpatient treatment. If the withdrawal state itself is severe or is already complicated with seizures or delirium tremens, then admission is the preferred option. If the person is very young or of old age, or in case of pregnant women who are experiencing alcohol withdrawal, it is better to admit. If the person is also dependent on other drugs apart from alcohol, for example, somebody is also dependent on opioids or cannabis or sedatives, then such a patient is better managed in the ward setting after admission. If the person has comorbidities, and especially if those comorbidities are not easily manageable or are uncontrolled, like uncontrolled diabetes, uncontrolled hypertension, some cardiac condition, respiratory illness, liver disease, then such a patient is better managed after admission. And if the patient does not have good social support, so if the individual is homeless or is from another district, lives very far, can't come for follow-ups very frequently, which are required in the initial period. So, in such individuals we can consider admission. However, the most common reason for admission in any setting is failure of outpatient treatment. So, most people of alcohol dependence, when they first come to treatment, they do not really meet any of the previous criteria for admission, and the physician, the treating team usually start outpatient treatment. However, there are many individuals in which outpatient treatment does not work. So, while they do take treatment, they are unable to abstain, or in some cases the compliance itself is not very good at home. So, in such patients, outpatient treatment is not able to achieve abstinence, and then they are offered admission. So, that is actually the most common indication for inpatient treatment. Now, what are the components of alcohol withdrawal management? We provide supportive care, which is basically is required for any patient of alcohol withdrawal. Then people who are having moderate to severe withdrawal syndromes, they may require medications where benzodiazepines are the drug of choice. Then there are some vitamin supplementations which are necessary while managing alcohol withdrawal. There may be role for some other medications, some non-pharmacological interventions are required, and we have to then ensure regular monitoring and follow-up. So, we will discuss these components of alcohol withdrawal management one by one. Now, as far as supportive care is concerned, we should monitor vital signs and symptoms of withdrawal, see if they are increasing or decreasing in severity. We should provide general nursing care, keep the patient in a calm, comfortable environment, provide reassurance, especially regarding the self-limiting nature of alcohol withdrawal syndromes. The patient's fluid and electrolyte balance should be maintained. If there are any deficiencies, dehydration, electrolyte deficiencies, they should be corrected, and we should attend to patient's nutritional needs, which in most cases of alcohol withdrawal can be given by the usual oral route. Parenteral nutrition is very rarely required. Now, average duration of alcohol withdrawal management, usually depending upon the severity, it can last up to 10 days, and at a minimum it lasts up to 4 to 5 days. Now, medical treatment should always be supplemented with non-pharmacological interventions, particularly explaining the nature of treatment, what is required from the patient, what is required from the family, how long the treatment will last, the kind of side effects person can experience. So, all that should be explained to the patient in detail, so the patient feels part of the treatment process. In fact, all important treatment related decisions should only be made in consultation with the patient and the family. However, in addition to that, we can also utilize this period of short term management to start certain specific psychological interventions like brief intervention if the patient is not motivated, or motivational intervene, or relapse prevention sessions. So, this is also the time to actually assess what is the patient requirement in terms of psychological interventions, non-pharmacological interventions, and initiate those treatments during the withdrawal management phase. Now, once the patient has been treated for alcohol withdrawal, the next important thing is ensuring that the patient's further progress is monitored closely and the patient continues to remain in touch with the treating team. So, the patient should be asked to follow up with the physician, with the treating team on a periodic basis. Initially, if the patient has received withdrawal management on inpatient basis, then after discharge, the patient should be asked to continue to follow up with the treating team. And it is in this period that we start the long term management strategies, which we are going to discuss subsequently. Now, in each of these follow up visits, we track the progress of the patient, his response to the treatment, any new issues which may have appeared, and we also look at whether the patient is able to regain the level of functioning which he or she had before starting alcohol use. So, alcohol withdrawal is something which can be managed, if properly diagnosed, can be managed in non-specialist setting by non-specialist staff as well. Does not require any kind of equipment or any kind of special arrangements to be made. Now, next we are going to discuss how do we manage cases of alcohol withdrawal which become complicated. By complicated alcohol withdrawal, we mean that apart from the usual symptoms of alcohol withdrawal, certain other symptoms appear during the course of withdrawal phase. Now, we must remember that these complications are not very frequent. More than 90% of people who experience alcohol withdrawal, the withdrawal is of mild to moderate severity and is uncomplicated. But up to about 10% of patients of alcohol dependence can go on to develop one or the other complications as part of the withdrawal syndrome. Now, there are three withdrawal related complications which are important: withdrawal seizures, alcoholic hallucinosis, and delirium tremens. Now, withdrawal seizures typically appear on the very first day after the last dose of alcohol, after the last consumption of an alcoholic beverage. So, if the person tries to quit alcohol, a person who is alcohol dependent, within the first 2 days of quitting, the person is vulnerable to developing alcohol withdrawal seizures. Alcoholic hallucinosis typically occurs on also occurs on day 1 or 2 of withdrawal, which means after quitting within the first 48 to 72 hours, there is a likelihood of developing alcoholic hallucinosis. And delirium tremens is a delayed complication of alcohol withdrawal. So, initially the individual may appear fine like any other patient of alcohol withdrawal, but by the third or the fourth day, there is likelihood of appearance of delirium tremens. So, as far as complicated alcohol withdrawal management is concerned, we discussed that up to about 10% of patients of alcohol withdrawal experience complications, particularly seizures or delirium tremens. However, both these complications can be prevented by providing adequate treatment of alcohol withdrawal before they appear. And even if somebody has already had a complicated alcohol withdrawal, it can be managed by providing the treatment we discussed. As we discussed earlier, alcohol dependence is a chronic relapsing condition. So, a short duration of treatment is often not sufficient to help someone achieve abstinence and maintain it, and people remain vulnerable to relapse to alcohol use after a short duration treatment. So, that is why in addition to the short term management of our alcohol dependence, which we just discussed, it is also important to provide any individual suffering from alcohol dependence long term management for the same. So, like short term treatment was focused on physical and psychological stabilization of the patient in the absence of alcohol and included management of alcohol withdrawal and related complications. The long term management, however, is focused on prevention of relapse, and helping patient achieve the level of functioning he or she had before developing alcohol dependence. And accordingly, long-term management of alcohol dependence consists of both pharmacological interventions as well as non-pharmacological or psychological interventions. Now, in this session, we are going to largely focus on the pharmacological interventions. The pharmacological interventions which can be given for a long duration to treat a patient of alcohol dependence are primarily of two kinds. One kind of pharmacological agents or medicine are those which reduce the craving for alcohol, reduce the desire which the patient experiences for alcohol, and thereby help the patient achieve abstinence. Another type of pharmacological agent or medicine is disulfiram. Now, this is an agent which actually produces an adverse physiological response to consumption of alcohol and thereby prevents use of alcohol once somebody consumes it. So, we will discuss both these types of approaches in detail in this session and see how we can use these agents in treatment of alcohol dependence. So, let us first begin with disulfiram, which is also known as a deterrent agent. Why is it called a deterrent agent? Because it deters the person from drinking. So, it acts as something which prevents the use of alcohol while the patient is taking this medicine. And how does disulfiram achieve that? Disulfiram alters the response of the human body to consumption of alcohol and turns it from a pleasant experience to an unpleasant or toxic experience. And it does so by irreversibly inhibiting an enzyme known as aldehyde dehydrogenase. Now, aldehyde dehydrogenase is an enzyme which the body utilizes to metabolize alcohol. Now, then another approach to achieve the same outcome is anti-craving agents. People with alcohol dependence, when they quit for a long period of time, for the first few weeks to few months, they continue to experience a strong craving, an irresistible urge to drink. This may appear on its own from within, or this urge can also be precipitated by external cues, like meeting someone who used to drink with the patient, or seeing an advertisement or some other form of reminder of alcohol on TV or in the immediate environment, like walking past an alcohol shop, or some other forms of reminders, particularly stressful situations. So, in all such instances, the patient may start thinking about drinking again, and this may lead to a very strong desire to drink. Now, one of the ways patients can be helped in maintaining abstinence is if we can reduce the desire to drink alcohol. Now, there is no medicine or any other form of treatment which can completely eliminate the desire to drink in a patient with alcohol dependence. However, there are some medicines which can reduce this desire to such an extent that the patient then finds it manageable. So, one such medicine is called acamprosate. So, apart from providing short term treatment, long term treatment is also essential, but which should always be combined with some psychosocial interventions which address other issues which are not effectively addressed by just pharmacotherapy alone. Research has also shown that combination of pharmacotherapy with non-pharmacological interventions is superior in achieving abstinence and maintaining abstinence as compared to just pharmacological treatment or psychosocial treatments alone. Now, as far as pharmacological treatment is concerned, disulfiram and anti-craving agents, they both work very effectively. However, a combination of disulfiram with one of the anti-craving agents like acamprosate or naltrexone is better in achieving abstinence.